We're going to tie an awesome crawfish, crayfish, whatever you call it. It's tiny. Why do I tie it tiny? You got to check it out, but fish don't always like the big ones.
That's a big brown.
This is a craw slider thinger. Check it out. It's a mini slider crawfish. Okay, those are little tungsten eyes. There are a bunch of different ways you can do this, but see the head? I'm addicted to sliders. I really like the way it makes stuff move in the water, so why not incorporate that into a little baby mini craw? So there you have it. I'm showing you the fly first. My fly is going to, the one I'm tying is going to be a little bit different color-wise. Is that how you say it, Brigham? Color-wise? So anyway, let's just get right to it. I just wanted to show it to you first. Okay, we have a, what is this, size 4 fulling mill streamer stripper hook in the vise. I'm gonna treat this with some 210 denier thread. I think this is the Danville Flymaster Plus variety. It's a super strong thread. Can almost do deer hair, but not quite. All right, so we're just going to dress our hook, and I'm going to dress it down about to right there. That's where we're going to start tying stuff in. But before we do that, we're going to go back to the head, or the eye of the hook, and I have these little tiny fulling mill tungsten barbell eyes. Okay, all these materials are listed in the description. There's a link that takes you to the exact recipe for this. And as you can tell, look at my fingers, they're like purpley black. I washed them. I've been tying black marabou flies today, so sue me. All right, dirty hands. I'm just going to crisscross wrap those eyes onto this hook. See, they're relatively close to the eye. That's like way too close if you're tying clows or minnows or cheech leeches or most everything else. But for sliders, that's about where I like it. So we'll cinch it down with a whole bunch of turns. All right, so we're just going to coat the the eyes and a little bit down the body, just to make that durable. There we go. All right, so we have it glued. I'm going to just take some of that off of there, wipe it on Brigham's desk, not your own, surely. All right, so I'm going to start out with some of this. It's called shadow fiber from Montana Fly. It's just kind of like a toned down kind of flashaboo Krelexy thing. It's kind of hard to explain, but they make it into chenille as well. So see that? It's mostly like earth tones, some bright colors, but I'm just going to take a chunk of it, about like that. We'll throw a little pre-trim on this, and we're going to tie that in about right here. And we're going to wrap back all the way down to where our thread stops. This is just going to be there to kind of split out the claws of the crayfish and maybe create a little bit of a head or something. There's usually a little bit of stuff going on at the front of a crayfish. So I'm going to add some feelers. This is something I'm just going to do with black crystal flash. I had some rubber legs on this initially, and this fly is just too small. The rubber legs just make it look too unnatural. So here's a little trick. If you I'm going to take, let's say, 4 strands of crystal flash, and I'm just going to tie them in here on my side of the hook. I want those to be underneath the hook, right? And instead of turning my vise upside down, I'm just going to kind of get close. And as soon as I get to where I'm about to end, I just pass that under the hook, and it will just kind of push it right exactly where we want it, right there. All right, so here we have some chenille. This is the Super Satin Chenille in brown, 10 millimeter. It comes in like multiple sizes, so super cool stuff. I'm going to tie some in right here, and I've stripped out some of that so I can just tie in the core. See that little core right there? And I can catch him down and just have a nice thin tie-in point. The reason why I'm tying so far down on the hook point or the bend is that this fly is going to ride hook point up, okay? So on these wraps, I'm just going to do a few turns, like maybe 3 turns or something like that. So there you go. It just kind of makes it look bushy, and this will further help us separate our little crayfish claws that we are going to now make. These strands of crystal flash will drive you nuts, so just get them out of the way. They're not going to look good and in place until the end of the fly. All right, ready to tie in some claws, and this is what I like to do for that. This is really cool stuff. Leech leather. They call this worm tan, but guess what? It's also crawfish tan because you can add a bunch of colors to it. So I've cut off a strip about that big. That's actually too big. Let's give you some proportions here. Make it the total length of the hook from the eye to the bend of the hook. Boom, like that. We're gonna switch to the top-down camera just so that you can see what I'm gonna do here. So I'm going to make a cut, let's see, like this on this side. I'm going to make a cut on like this on this side, and then I'm going to cut down the center of those 2 cuts. I'll just show you what it looks like. It will be a lot simpler to comprehend once it's done. And I'm making little claws, 2 claws out of 1 piece. So I've cut both my little tab pieces, right? Now I'm just going to find the center and just take my scissors and trim down. You might be able to find a way to make these easier. As you can see, they're not perfect. I'll lay them on this black base so you can see what they look like. Boom, there we go. This one could be a little thinner, so I'm just going to trim him down a little bit. All right, now we're going to make little claws out of this. So we're going to use the fat side and just cut a notch out of it. And this is little suede stuff, so it's pretty durable. And that's what our little crawfish claw is going to look like. Boom. Just like that. Okay, so now that we have those built, switch back over, and I'm just going to take those and tie them in about like this. We're tying them in rather short. Little tiny crayfishes have like tiny little nubs, so maybe we're being a little bit generous even with these, but their claws really aren't very big or very well formed. So I'm going to just tie those in like that. And again, this guy rides upside down, so if it looks like it's looking weird and everything's facing down, it's kind of on purpose. All right, wrap this down. There we've got kind of the first part of the crawfish formed, and this is real easy. I'm just going to take more of that satin chenille, tie it in again by the tag, you know, as you do, and we're going to wrap this sucker all the way forward. But if you just go cowboy style and just start wrapping and throwing stuff down, it's going to mat on top of each other. See how that is? So you need to come in here and pull those back almost every turn. And that way you can get a really nice full body. See, I tried to explain it and I screwed it all up. All right, so keep those out of there. Wrap it back like every turn on the front and on the back. Just so if you keep preening those fibers back as you wrap, you get a really nice dense body. And we're going to trim this, but it's kind of creating a base, a body base that is going to be super buggy. It's going to ride in the water nice, probably move around a little bit better than a sculpted deer hair body or something like that. So that's why we're using this. Bada bing, bada boom. We made it up to the front. We're going to tie that off and trim it. Okay? Ooh, tool noise. Sorry. All right, so there is our fly. If you feel like some of these fibers are trapped down, just take like some Velcro or whatever you like and just brush it out. Okay, so that's what our fly is going to look like. At this point, we're going to give it a little haircut. So I'm going to come straight across the top here And we're just going to trim it so that it's thicker in the front than it is in the back. And sometimes you got to get like this with your scissors, or face your scissors the wrong way. And kind of angle it kind of triangular. So you see how it's fatter, closer to the claws, and thinner up by the eye. That's how we want it. Okay. At this point, we're going to give it a little paint job. And so let's see. You can use whatever colors you like. I just have, what is this, an olive, or no, this is a sepia Prismacolor marker. I'm just going to make a big stripe right here. And maybe we'll come in here and we'll dab a little bit of this on those claws. Just like that. A little bit of color, and then we're going to add a black stripe down the back. This gives kind of the appearance of kind of the mottled crayfish, and we're going to maybe tap a little bit of black into those claws too. Brown along the sides. Maybe some, yeah, I'm not coloring the insides of the claws. This stuff kind of seeps through, and as you can see, my thread wrapped up. No big deal, just unwind it. All right, oh, one final one. This is a fluorescent orange Sharpie. It's kind of cool. Orange is a really good crawfish color, so I'm actually going to color the tips of my claws orange. And you can see I got a good orange spot on my finger from doing that, 4 or 5 times. You can make this look as cute and pretty as you want, but, crawfish are kind of ugly, unruly creatures. Okay, so we have a good profile. You see that? Just little tiny hangers off that splay out nice. We're going to give it a little bit of flowage here on the side of the body, because crawfish have these little spindly legs that kick down, So we're gonna mess with a few colors. In crayfishology, which I studied at the University of Nothing and Never. Did that make sense, Brig? No. I think crayfish have a bluish tinge to them as well. A little bit of blue, a little bit of orange, mostly olive and brown, but we're going to add a little bit of blue and orange into this. So again, we're going to take some of that shadow fiber, just a few strands of the tan, and I've mixed it with a few strands of blue and orange here. Okay, so it's just really faint, and we're just going to take a hank of this, and we're going to tie this in on one side. Okay, and we're going to trim it about like that, and we're going to do it again on the other side. Come on. You know that when the stuff's unruly, it's going to move really well in the water. Brigham's unruly does not move well underwater. Okay, so I'm going to catch that, tie that in, trim it off, and there we have a little bit of highlight color along the side of the craw. If you want to come in here and say, well, that's too light, let's dirty it up a little bit. You could even like make them stripy with a little marker. There you go. And a little bit of dirt to them. So just by adding a little bit of black stripes to them, you kind of model them up. But anyway, we're ready for the final piece, the deer hair head. And so first thing I'm going to do is switch out for some nano silk. I'm tying in 100 denier nano silk. This is, I think there's 6/0, but nano silk and GSP are the same threads. It's the same stuff. All right, we're going to take a clump of deer hair. I've done it with deer, elk, comparadon hair, hopper deer. Just find whatever hair you like. I'm going to take a healthy clump. about like that. Let's show you this side. That's a lot of hair. And we're going to take our tool or our comb and brush it out. See how much junk came out there? That'll help in flaring this hair. All right, deer hair goes in. This is the largest of the Dr. Slick stackers. Just big enough to let it spread around. Get it nice and aligned, and it should look like that. All right, once we have that, you can grab this and we're going to tie it in only about that far back. It's not going to go as far back as a normal slider. We just want a little head. So I'm going to hold this here, and I'm going to take my GSP and lightly go around it twice. Okay, so that's just around there 2 times. And as I start to put tension on it, you'll see the hair want to start to flare. That's a good thing. Because it's only one color, I'm just going to take both my fingers and pull it down and forward like this. Flares out really nicely. You can give it a little bit of help if you want. And if you pull too tight, you'll cut through your thread. And if you wrap more wraps than that, you'll make a big mess. So leave your thread right there. If you turn it upside down, you got to bring your thread with it. Okay, you don't want any more turns. So at this point, I'm going to take a little bit of ice dub, and this is a cool technique. I'm just going to take a little tiny pinch of ice dub. Kind of like this, and I'm just going to pinch that and fold it around the thread. Let's see if I can show that. So I've just got that pinched around the thread, and I'm going to seat that right underneath those eyes. And I'm just going to do 2 turns. This part is definitely unnecessary. You don't need to do this. It just cleans up the fly a little bit, adds a little bit of flash. Now I'm going to take a tiny bit of super glue now. Just dab it right in there and trim that off. Okay, so there's our fly. Everything's tied in, everything's ready. We're going to now just take a razor blade. Where in the heck? There we are. One of these bad boys, and I'm going to curve it. So the idea is I'm going to curve it like this. Really, really tight. It is easiest to just leave this hole like this. Don't break them in half. See how much room I have to grip my thumb with this, okay? When you cut them in half, you have less area to hold on to. Anyway, I'm just going to bend this, and hopefully with just one movement with my fingers like this, I'll get most of my cutting done. So here's what I'll do. I'll bend the blade, pull the hair up, and just kind of rotate it back and forth, and we'll see. Not too bad. We're going to go a little bit further back. Okay, so now the difference, and see what I'm doing with those butts is I'm just going to pull those out of there. You know, I don't want to have to cut them, and then because then I'll cut some tips, which is bad. All right, so that head I'm still going to work on a little bit. Because this is a crawfish, I don't want the bend to kind of go up. I'm gonna take that collar down a little bit just by taking my razor blade now and just running it like this over the fly. Okay. Okay, so that just makes a little tiny covering over those eyes. I'm going to take my cautery tool now. I'm going to clean up some of the parts that were unruly and didn't want to play. And at the end of the day, we have a little tiny slider head like this. So we're not done yet. All right, so to doctor this one up, I'm just going to take a black marker and I'm just going to make a little stripe here and just kind of keep making a few stripes all the way through the deer hair, you know, and then we're going to take the sepia marker and we're going to make stripes in through that. So a little bit of the natural should show through, but we're just kind of dirtying that up. So you can see how we made the head a little mottled, and then I like to take this orange marker and just color right here along the bottom. So a lot of those crayfish just have kind of that sneaky little bit of orange sometimes, but anyway, oh, and right here in the front too. There you have it. That's a mini crayfish slider. Fish it for carp, bass, trout, or whatever else eats crayfish, including Brigham. Do you eat crayfish, dude?
I have, yeah.
He has, which means he hates them because he lives on a diet of hot
I'm
dogs
being
and ketchup.
sausages and ketchup. And
I upgraded you to hot dogs, bro.
thanks.
All right, thanks for watching our video. This fly's awesome. Even Brig can catch fish on it.